It's December 23rd here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with the stories making the headlines at this hour. Starting with the first Vice Foreign Minister's visit to the United States. Kim Hong-gyu is visiting the U.S. to hold talks with the outgoing Biden administration, as Seoul also gears up to work with the incoming Trump administration. South Korea's Shin Group chairman Chung Yong-jin met with President-elect Donald Trump and said Trump's team clearly understands the current political situation in South Korea. The special investigation team has secured and started to analyze President Yoon Suk-yeol's personal mobile phone call records, while the Constitutional Court is set to announce plans on how to deal with Yoon's refusal to accept impeachment trial-related documents. K-pop boy group Stray Kids tops BIllboard's main album chart for the sixth time with the band's new album Hop, making them the first act to debut at #1 with their first 6 charting albums. The special investigation team has now gotten its hands on President Yoon Suk-yeol's personal phone call records from around the time he issued the martial law order earlier this month. Our Park Kwon-woo starts us off.
The special team investigating the declaration of martial law in early December has secured the call logs from President Yoon's personal cell phone. According to police officials on Sunday, investigators obtained a warrant for Yoon's phone to check details of calls with individuals related to the martial law order. Officials added they are also trying to find a separate secure phone known to have been used by Yoon to give orders during the period of martial law, along with his logs. The police also said a document containing orders to stop funding for the National Assembly's operations and organize the legislative body's budget under martial law has been obtained. The document was reportedly delivered to Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok during a cabinet meeting held before the temporary imposition of martial law. But Choi said last week that he does not recall much about the document.
It seemed like measures based on martial law. As soon as I saw it, we decided to ignore it and dismissed it.
After investigating 10 out of the 12 participants in the cabinet meeting held before martial law was declared, police officials said they concluded there were procedural and substantive flaws in the meeting. That's based on factors including the absence of meeting minutes. The prosecutor's office also investigated the Korea Defense Intelligence Command last week amid suspicions that personnel from the headquarters of Intelligence Detachment were deployed to arrest National Election Commission staff during the martial law period. Prosecutors have secured testimonies from KDIC staff. The joint investigation team consisting of the police, defense ministry, and the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials last Friday issued a second summons for President Yoon to appear for questioning this Wednesday. The first summons issued last Wednesday by the CIO went unanswered. The CIO plans to seek an arrest warrant for Yoon if he does not respond to the latest summons or if he does not give a specific reason for failing to appear before investigators on Wednesday. Park Kwon-woo, Arirang News.
And the Constitutional Court is expected to announce on Monday how it'll move forward as attempts to send key documents to President Yoon regarding his impeachment trial have failed. The court since last Monday has been trying to deliver notifications of Yoon's impeachment trial, a summons and preparations orders to Yoon through a posted email. Receiving the documents will require him to submit a response within 7 days. However, delivery to the president's residence was rejected by Yoon's staff, and a mail sent to the president's office was returned with the reason that the president was unavailable. The court is looking at ways to consider the documents legally delivered. Now, while the trial can proceed without the submission of a response, there are concerns the trial could be delayed if President Yoon's side fails to appoint legal representatives, refuses to attend, or claims more time is needed to review the documents. So the Constitutional Court is now weighing options to keep the impeachment trial on track. Let's discuss more with Attorney An Jung-sung this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what options does the Constitutional Court have on the table at the moment?
Well, there are several options they can use it. Well, one of the things they can do, they can leave the court document at his place in Yongsan, or they can apply the mailbox rule, which becomes effective upon mailing. So they have, both options, it become effective as of today. So one more thing is that the KCC has confirmed that the preliminary hearing will be held on the 27th as scheduled. So
Right.
I think that they will keep that timeline. They apply the options, they use it within the time frame. So that's the important. The 27th is the schedule.
Right, that is this Friday. Then, sir, which of the options you've just mentioned do you think the court will eventually pick to manage the issue, today?
Well, I think that they might try both options at the same time, so that they'll provide no option for them, no excuse for them, because basically, so the both option in a way that it became effective today, so that they got 27, so that's have about the 4 days to prepare. So I think they might use both options from my expectation. Right?
Right, they will have to go with an option that makes the hearing happen this Friday. And also, at the same time, the CIO, Corruption Investigation Office, has set Christmas Day, this Wednesday, as the day for Yoon to appear for a summons for the second time. Now, how likely do you think he will appear or show up this time? I mean, speaking from Yoon's perspective, what might be his intention for not showing up again?
Well, for the answer to the first question was that, well, nobody knows whether he show up. And second answer to a second question is that I think, well, as you know, I mean, both people expected they're using the delay tactics. So I guess try to save more time for preparation or some other, strategy, try to delay it. But however, from the legal perspective or litigation's perspective, it's not always good to delay, the procedure because that overwork, it can be used against him at court. So seriously. So I guess that maybe it's time for him to really speed up the process.
It's already the second summons request by the CIO. Now, what other actions can the CIO can take if Yoon decides not to appear again? Are they going to issue another summons request?
Yeah, I guess that's a judgment call for the CIO. I mean, because it's not only a legal issue, it's also a very political issue. So I think that they want to wait and see how the KCC make decision today. And they might do, to follow it, whatever they KCC take actions they take it. So I think they might want to see how cases do it, and then they might follow the same way, the procedural way, better.
Well, what Yoon's legal team is arguing is that the team is not done forming its members. The question is, can they take as much time as they want?
No. It's very interesting. If you are litigating as an individual citizen, it's not going to be too much, he has too much advantage as being a current sitting president, because that if you're individual doing litigation or civil or criminal case, the court would not wait for you, right? So basically what happened was that in Korea, legal representation is an option, it's not a requirement for the litigation. So failure to form a legal team is not an excuse at a court. So it might give some time, provide him more time for him, but it eventually work against him in the long run. So I guess that he's losing his valuable time to defend himself, in effective way. So his killing time is not always a good option for litigation perspective.
Well, I just asked you all these questions because there are concerns that this could possibly cause a delay in the impeachment trial process. How likely is that scenario?
Well, actually, I doubt so. I don't think the KCC will delay their schedule because it's like they only have 180 days to make a determination. It's long, but it looks long, but it's very short for them to make this determination. It's very complicated cases. The constitutional cases always complicated and very political. So I guess that I don't think they're going to delay it. They will proceed it, or whether or not he show up or receive it, because they can take it and consider it as he received, so legally. So that's the thing. I think they're gonna proceed it as scheduled.
Well, let's see what the Constitutional Court decides to do this afternoon. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, first Vice Foreign Minister Kim Hong-kyun is in Washington for talks with the outgoing Biden administration. He says he's already spoken to the Trump team to explain the situation in South Korea, including President Yoon facing impeachment. Lee Seung-ja has more.
South Korea's first Vice Foreign Minister Kim Hong-kyun is visiting the United States for talks with the outgoing Biden administration as Seoul prepares for the incoming Trump administration. Talking to reporters at Dulles International Airport on Sunday, Kim said the Yoon administration has been communicating with the Trump team since before the U.S. presidential election. He added that the administration has explained the situation in South Korea, including the emergency martial law incident and the current impeachment proceeding against President Yoon Suk-yeol. When asked how Trump's team perceives the situation in South Korea, Kim said that as the whole world has witnessed, South Korea's democracy has shown how resilient it is, adding that they'll clearly understand the situation. The South Korean envoy explained that there are no plans to meet with anyone from the Trump side during his visit. Meanwhile, South Korean retail conglomerate Shinsegae Group chairman Chung Yong-jin said Saturday that he had a brief talk with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Speaking to Seoul-based Yonhap News Agency from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Chung said he spoke to Trump for around 10 to 15 minutes. While Chung was tight-lipped about his meeting with Trump, he explained that Trump's team showed interest in the current situation in South Korea.
Korea is a country with potential, so please trust and wait. We will quickly return to normal. That's all I said.
His brief meeting with the U.S. president-elect came as he stayed at Mar-a-Lago Resort at the invitation of Donald Trump Jr. The SSG chairman is the first South Korean known to have met Trump since his win in November. Chung refrained from further disclosing the details of his talk with Trump, but said the U.S. president-elect made no special indication toward South Korea. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
South Korea's military has successfully launched its third reconnaissance satellite to better monitor threats from North Korea. The domestically developed satellite, which was launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California on Saturday, is capable of capturing images day and night regardless of weather conditions. It'll go through operational testing over the next few months before carrying out surveillance and reconnaissance missions. The latest launch is part of South Korea's plan to deploy 5 spy satellites by 2025 to monitor the North with its own satellite network. Seoul launched its first spy satellite in December last year and a second one back in April. Once all 5 satellites are placed in orbit, the military will reportedly be able to monitor a specific North Korean target every 2 hours. K-pop group Stray Kids have topped the BIllboard 200 album chart for the 6th time in their career with their new album Hop. According to BIllboard on Sunday, the album debuted at #1 and making it 6 albums in a row to debut at #1 on the main album chart. Now, no act has debuted at #1 with its first 6 chart entries in BIllboard's near 69-year history. The feat means Stray Kids is tied with BTS, Linkin Park, and Dave Matthews Band for the most #1 albums on Billboard 200 since 2000. And K-culture is penetrating Northern Europe with its music and movies, and Sweden is no exception. Our culture correspondent Song Yujin has this report.
The birthplace of ABBA, Spotify, and IKEA, Sweden has long been celebrated for its creativity and cultural innovation. This month, Stockholm became home to the Korea Creative Content Agency Sweden, the agency's first branch in Northern Europe.
We've seen growing interest in K-pop among teens and young adults, with Swedish musicians contributing as songwriters and producers. Given Sweden's global reputation in gaming, with titles like Minecraft and Candy Crush Saga, we plan to focus on collaboration in music and gaming.
Take Stockholm's K-pop non-stop dance academy, for example. Starting with just 2 classes and 20 students in 2015, it has grown to over 15 classes with a community of 200 students.
Before, it was more of a niche thing to like K-pop, so it wasn't very widely accepted. It's not only singing and dancing, but it's also like the performance. And I also liked how you get to learn to know the idols more as a person and not just as an artist.
But it's only recent years that this interest has started to flourish. So after opening Northern Europe's first Korean cultural center last year, Sweden has now welcomed Koka Sweden, the first Korea Creative Content Agency's branch in the region.
Northern Europe historically had limited access to Korean culture due to its geographic distance and lack of dedicated cultural institutions. But with the rise of digital platforms, people here have begun to explore K-pop, Korean dramas, and more.
The opening of the Korean Cultural Center Sweden last year was a turning point. Since its launch in May 2023, the center has hosted a range of events, from K-pop festivals to Korean food seminars, establishing itself as a hub for promoting Korean culture not just in Sweden, but across Northern Europe. Director Lee Kyung-jae says there's a reason why Korean culture is spreading so quickly in Sweden.
Swedes are known for immersing themselves in their interests. For example, instead of simply enjoying kimchi at restaurants, many choose to learn how to make it themselves. Our center is serving as a space where they can share their passions and discover new aspects of Korean culture that are hard to access online.
This passion was evident among the students taking Korean language classes at the center.
You can tell this from the amount of Korean restaurants opening, the amount of Korean foods available in different Asian food stores. There is a bigger interest in Korean music. You can see Korean artists coming to play here.
People are getting more and more interested, and also having this culture institute opening up here as well. I think it's interesting to know more about Korea, because we know a little bit about Korea, but maybe not about a lot of the culture. So it's good to have all the other things that we don't know about Korea, like literature and food.
By bridging cultures, these two institutions are not only strengthening ties between Sweden and Korea, but also laying the foundation for deeper connections between Korea and Northern Europe. 송유진, Arirang News, Stockholm.
And now let's take a look at the stories from around the world with our Kim Seong. Good morning, Seong.
Good morning, Dami.
Seong, we have to start with the Christmas market attack over in Germany. What's the latest?
Yes, that's right. The police investigations are in full swing following Friday evening's horrific attack in the German city of Magdeburg. Now, the suspect, who was identified by the German authorities as a 50-year-old Saudi doctor, has been remanded in custody after allegedly killing 4 women and a 9-year-old boy and injuring some 200 more by driving a car into crowds at a Christmas market. The suspect, who has been named as Taleb al-Abdul Mohsen in the local media, was brought before a judge on Saturday evening and ordered to a pre-trial detention for 5 counts of murder, multiple attempted murder and multiple counts of dangerous bodily harm. Now, German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser said investigations would look into how authorities responded to earlier warnings, such as online death threats made by the suspect and information given by the Saudi government, which is apparently ignored by its German counterpart. Now, al-Abdul Mohsen was granted asylum by Germany in 2016 after arriving in the country in 2006. According to his social media account, he supported anti-Islam views and far-right political parties. US President-elect Donald Trump has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed his interest in discussing the war in Ukraine as soon as possible. Trump, who has previously said he could end the Russian-Ukraine war in 24 hours, said at Turning Point's America Fest convention on Sunday that Putin is eager to meet him and that we have to end that war. The US president-elect has previously criticized incumbent President Joe Biden's policy change, allowing Ukraine to use US-supplied weapons to strike Russian territory, and said Ukraine will possibly receive less military aid from the US when he takes office. Russian President Putin said in an interview with local media on Sunday that Russia is ready to normalize relations with the US and the West, but without detriment to interests of the Russian Federation. Tens of thousands of protesters gathered in Serbia's capital, Belgrade, on Sunday in a move against President Aleksandar Vučić and his ruling Serbian Progressive Party, demanding the government's accountability over the collapse of a railway station roof last month that killed 15 people. Following the collapse of the recently renovated roof of Novi Sad station on November 1st, opposition leaders and members of the public blamed government corruption and nepotism. Now, Novi Sad station had been renovated twice in recent years in large-scale projects involving Chinese state companies. Prosecutors have so far arrested 13 people over the collapse, including a government minister, after Vučić said he will hold those responsible to account. Spain's traditional Christmas lottery, El Gordo de la Primitiva, with the world's largest total prize pot of some $2.8 billion, announced its winning numbers in a broadcast on Sunday. Now, as per tradition, the lottery draw was televised in a 4-hour broadcast from Madrid's Teatro Real, where students from San Ildefonso School picked the winning numbers and sang them out. The tradition, which dates back over 200 years to 1812, began as a way to raise funds to fight for Spain's independence against the occupying French forces. Nowadays, the remaining proceeds after payouts to lucky winners are donated to social causes.
The harsh chill continues this morning with cold wave alerts in place for much of the northern parts of South Korea. It felt like -7 degrees Celsius in the capital, but Monday's morning commute always feels much colder. Meanwhile, today's afternoon temperatures will go up higher than yesterday, so the midwinter cold should ease when the sun is at its brightest. But brace yourselves, as tomorrow morning will be even colder than today. Now, today's highs will be around the norms in much of Korea, topping out at 4 degrees Celsius in the capital, Gwangju at 7 degrees, Daegu, Gyeongju at 8 degrees. Sunny skies in most parts except in Gwangju and Jeju this afternoon. Temperatures make improvements heading into the Christmas holiday. After a freezing start tomorrow, readings will be more bearable for any outdoor plans. Meanwhile, Jeju and parts of southern regions will have a mix of rain and snow at the end of the week, with freezing air making its comeback. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That wraps up our Monday edition of New Day at Arirang. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful start to the week.